Level 1. The driveway. You're 15 and nobody pays you. Your uncle runs 3 box trucks for his landscaping outfit, and you're the kid who holds the drop light. You learn to bleed brakes before you learn to drive. You change the oil on a Cummins B series in the driveway, and the filter dumps a quart down your sleeve before you learn to angle it. You strip your first bolt, torquing a U-bolt on a leaf spring, and your uncle hands you an easy out and walks away without a word. You learn the smell of burnt clutch and the sound a wheel bearing makes right before it fails. You read the Chilton manual at night like it's a novel. By the second summer, you're doing brake jobs alone, and the truck holds on the hill test. Nobody certifies you. Nobody has to. Your hands already know more than your mouth can explain, and that gap is the whole trade. Level 2. The Lube rack. You're 17, hired on at a dealership's quick service bay for $17 an hour. The bay smells like hot antifreeze and diesel exhaust condensate. You do preventative maintenance inspections all day. Oil, filters, grease the U-joints, check the slack adjusters, pull the wheels, and measure brake lining with a ruler. You learn the PMI checklist the way a line cook learns a ticket, in order, every time. Because a skipped item on a Class 8 truck doesn't just cost a comeback, it can put a truck off the road at a scale house. You drop a socket into a running fan once and it comes out bent like a pretzel. The lead tech doesn't yell, he just makes you buy a magnetic tray. You learn the DOT annual inspection points before anyone asks you to. Your hands stay black past the wrist no matter how you scrub them. The shop foreman notices you check your own torque specs against the book instead of guessing, and he tells you there's a diesel program down the road worth looking at. Level 3. Diesel School. You're 18 and you sign for a 45-week diesel technology program that runs $41,300 to $41,980 at a Universal Technical Institute campus. Tuition, lab fees, a laptop, a digital multimeter, all of it financed. You move into a shared apartment near campus with 2 other students who are also betting on this. The first weeks are fuel systems and air brakes on training rigs from Cummins, Detroit Diesel, and International. You learn the difference between a Jake brake and a service brake the hard way, in a simulator that fails you on purpose. You pull your first head off a Cummins ISX in the lab, and the instructor makes you re-torque it 3 times before the sequence sticks in your hands instead of your notes. You learn hydraulics, transport refrigeration, air conditioning, and the electronic engine controls that run every modern diesel. Every ASE test costs $36 to register plus $43 a test, and the school builds the study time into the schedule because your 2 years of hands-on training here counts against the work experience ASE requires. Graduation day, the placement office hands you a list of dealerships hiring. You've never made $1 and you already owe more than a car loan. Level 4. The Journeyman. You're 23, working the floor on a Peterbilt dealership on flat rate, and the national median for a diesel service technician is $60,640 a year, though entry techs start closer to $40,000 and it climbs from there. You sit for the ASE T2 through T8 exams over 2 testing windows: diesel engines, drivetrain, brakes, suspension and steering, electrical systems, HVAC, preventative maintenance inspection, and when you pass all 7, you're an ASE certified master medium heavy truck technician. A customer's 2018 Freightliner comes in derated, limping at 5 miles an hour, check engine light solid. You plug in the laptop, pull the fault codes, and trace a DEF quality sensor throwing a false code that's forcing the after-treatment system into limp mode. You clear it, verify the fix on a road test, and the truck rolls back out in 90 minutes instead of the 2 days the previous shop quoted. The service writer starts routing the hard diagnostic tickets to you by name. You blow a knuckle open on a broken exhaust stud that snaps flush with the manifold, and you learn to always heat a rusted stud before you ever put a wrench on it. ASE certified techs earn up to 30% more than uncertified ones on the same floor, and you start to understand where that gap actually comes from. Level 5. The Road Tech. You're 28 and you take a job running emergency roadside service out of a fully stocked service truck, on call, nights and weekends, because the pay premium is real and somebody has to answer the 2 a.m. call. A tractor-trailer is jackknifed on the shoulder of I-40 with a blown steer tire and a driver who's been sitting in the dark for 40 minutes. You work under headlights and hazards 18 inches from live traffic, swap the tire, check the air system for a leak that caused the blowout, and get the truck rolling before the highway patrol finishes the report. You learn to read a breakdown call before you even leave the yard, air system, electrical, or engine, because showing up with the wrong parts costs you 2 hours and the customer a full day. You freeze through a January call in a snow squall in the shoulder of I-80, fingers numb inside your gloves, chasing an air leak by ear because the gauge won't hold still enough to read. You never work a roadside call again without checking the wind direction first. The truck stops and fleets that keep you on retainer pay for the peace of mind as much as the repair, and you start clearing more in a season of night calls than you did your first 2 years combined. Level 6. The Shop Foreman. You're 35 and you run the floor now instead of a single bay, dispatching 6 techs, signing off on the diagnostics nobody else can crack, and eating the comebacks personally when a warranty claim gets denied. The top 10% of diesel technicians clear over $80,000, and master techs stacking overtime and shop bonuses push past $100,000 in a good year. A fleet account brings in a Volvo D13 throwing intermittent codes that 3 different techs have already chased and cleared without fixing anything. You pull the wiring harness data, find a chafed ground wire rubbing against the frame rail from a badly routed aftermarket light kit, and the code never comes back. The fleet manager starts calling the shop and asking for you specifically before he'll authorize the ticket. You train the next generation on the floor, watching a 19-year-old lube tech strip a drain plug the same way you did at 17, and you hand him an easy out without a word, same as your uncle did. You stop thinking about torque specs. You think about flow. Which bay backs up the whole shop? Which tech needs the easy diagnostic to build confidence? Which one needs the hard one to stay sharp? Level 7. The Owner. You're 44, and after nearly 3 decades of turning wrenches, diagnosing trucks, and running a shop floor, you finally stop working for someone else. You and a partner lease a 5-bay building just off the interstate and put your name on the sign. You're not trying to build some giant corporation yet. You're building the shop you wished you'd had when you were 17. Your first fleet contract looks like a win until you run the numbers. You underbid the job because you calculate the technician's wage but forget the payroll taxes, insurance, tools, training, downtime, and everything else that comes with keeping a good tech on the floor. You lose money for 2 quarters before you finally understand that owning a shop means learning the math behind the wrench. You hire your first apprentice, a nervous 19-year-old who reminds you of yourself. He starts by holding the light, cleaning parts, and doing oil services. One afternoon, he strips a drain plug and freezes, waiting for you to get angry. Instead, you hand him an easy out and tell him to slow down and fix it. You recognize the mistake because you made the exact same one at 17. By year 6, the 5-bay shop has grown into 4 active bays, 22 employees, and a steady list of fleet customers who call you because they know you'll keep their trucks moving. You're no longer the guy fixing every problem yourself. You're the guy building a team that can solve problems without you. And that's when you finally understand what your old foreman was trying to teach you. At 17, your value was measured by how fast your hands could turn a wrench. At 35, it was measured by how well you could run a shop. At 44, it's measured by whether the entire business can keep moving when you step away from the bay. You still walk the floor most mornings. You still check torque specs. You still diagnose the occasional truck when something interesting comes through. But now, the biggest thing you're fixing isn't a truck. You're building a business that doesn't need you under the hood every hour to make money. And for the first time in your career, the wrench isn't what you're selling anymore. You're selling trust, uptime, and a shop that fleet owners know will be there when their trucks won't.